The price of a miracle, she prayed for a child. Then this happened, part 1.
I still remember the night the baby stopped crying, not because she finally slept, not because her mother carried her, but because when we opened that door, there was no baby inside, no broken window, no footprints, no sound, nothing, and the worst part, Mama Bisi was sitting on the floor smiling. Smiling, while her hands rocked an invisible child. That was the night I realized some prayers answer back in ways nobody should ever experience, and if I had not lived in that compound myself, I would never have believed any of it. Back then I lived in Surulere, face me I face you, the kind of compound where privacy did not exist. If your boyfriend visited, everybody knew. If you bought new shoes, everybody knew. If you quarreled at midnight, people discussed it by morning. Life was hard, but we managed. There were 12 rooms in the compound arranged around one open center. Children played football there, women cooked there, men argued football there, everybody shared everybody's problems. And that was where Mama Bisi lived, room 7, 2 doors from mine, quiet woman, very respectful, always greeting, good morning, well done, how is work? She lived with her husband Connor. Connor worked long hours, slim man, always tired, always trying to smile. They had been married almost 8 years, no child. Now where I come from, people don't mind their business. 8 years without a child, that becomes public property. Everybody had an opinion, everybody had advice, everybody became a doctor, everybody became a pastor, everybody became a prophet. Nobody knew how painful it was except them. At first it was small comments, small gossip, the kind people pretend is harmless. Maybe the problem is her, no, maybe the husband. Have they gone for prayer? Have they tried herbal medicine? Everybody had advice, especially when it wasn't their life. Whenever Mama Bisi passed by, the conversation suddenly changed. Then smiles appeared, fake smiles. But I watched her eyes, she had them, she had everything. Months passed, then one evening I heard shouting from their room, not ordinary argument, pain, real pain. Connor shouted, how long will we continue like this? Silence, then crying, deep crying, the kind someone makes after holding pain for years. That night nobody slept early, because in compounds like ours, your problem becomes everyone's midnight entertainment. But after that night, Mama Bisi changed. She became quieter, more withdrawn, and sadness followed her like shadow. Then prayer season started. Every Friday night, mountain prayers, night vigils, fasting, deliverance, anointing oil. Prayer mountains, special churches. She attended all. Sometimes she returned 4 a.m. eyes swollen, face wet from crying. One morning I saw her returning, but something was different. She was smiling, smiling hard, not normal smiling, almost relieved. I asked, Mama Bisi, good news? She stopped, looked at me, smiled strangely, then said, God has remembered me. And walked inside. For some reason, cold ran down my body. At slow suspense section. Days later I saw her near a bus stop, not alone. She stood beside an old woman, very old, white wrapper, serious face, no expression. People walked past her strangely, almost avoiding eye contact. The old woman whispered something. Mama Bisi nodded, then she handed Mama Bisi a small wrapped cloth. I couldn't hear them. But the old woman looked toward me, straight into my eyes. And I swear, my chest tightened, because her eyes looked empty, like someone looking through me, not at me. 3 months later, the compound exploded with joy. Mama Bisi was pregnant, women screamed, people danced, food appeared, prayers everywhere. The same people that gossiped before now shouted, God has done it, but something bothered me. It happened too fast, too suddenly. Still, who was I to question miracles? Weeks passed, then strange things started. Nobody touched her stomach, nobody, not even old women. Whenever someone tried, she moved away. Then there were days her stomach looked bigger, and other days, smaller. I told myself, maybe pregnancy changes people, maybe I was imagining things, but deep down, something felt wrong. Connor changed too. He looked frightened, always watching his wife, always nervous. Then one night, I saw him outside alone. Crying, Connor, crying. When he saw me he quickly wiped his face. I asked, Brother Connor, what's wrong? He looked at me, opened his mouth, closed it, then said, nothing, and walked away. But I knew, something was terribly wrong. As the pregnancy grew, people became even more excited. You know Nigerians, once pregnancy enters a compound, everybody suddenly becomes family. Women started visiting Mama Bisi almost every day. Some brought food, some brought advice nobody asked for. Others just came to look around and gossip. One afternoon they sat outside discussing baby names. If it's a boy, call him Samuel. No, Daniel. If it's a girl, maybe blessing. Everybody laughed, everybody talked, but Mama Bisi just sat there quietly, smiling, not speaking. Then one woman touched her shoulder and asked, Mama Bisi, what names have you chosen? Silence, she stared at the ground, then slowly she said, she already has a name. The women looked at each other, already. Someone laughed, how do you know it's a girl? Mama Bisi looked up, smiled, then said quietly, because she told me. Silence, complete silence, then people laughed awkwardly, but I didn't laugh, because Mama Bisi wasn't joking. That night Nipper took light, the whole compound became dark, generator off, no TV, no noise. Around 2 a.m., I woke suddenly. At first I didn't know why, then I heard it, footsteps. Slow footsteps outside, tap, tap, tap. I thought maybe someone wanted to use the toilet, but something felt strange. The footsteps were too slow, too careful. I peeped through my window, nothing. Then I heard them again, tap, 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 closer. My chest tightened. I looked toward Mama Bisi's room, and for a second,
I saw movement, a shadow, standing outside her door, very tall, very still. I blinked, it was gone. I told myself I was sleepy. I told myself my eyes deceived me. Then from her room, I heard whispering, not one voice, several. Connor changed gradually. At first it was small things. He stopped sitting outside with the other men, stopped watching football, stopped laughing, even his body changed. He looked thinner, his eyes looked tired. Then one evening I found him sitting alone outside, head down, sweating, just staring at nothing. I sat beside him. Brother Connor, you okay? Silence. Then he looked at me, and for a second, I almost jumped, because fear was written all over his face, not ordinary fear, the kind people have after seeing something they cannot explain. He opened his mouth, closed it, then said, have you ever prayed for something, then wished you never got it? I stared at him, before I could answer. He stood up immediately and walked away, leaving me there, confused. One afternoon Mama Bisi went out, very unusual. She hardly left the room anymore. I saw their door slightly open, and I don't know why, but I looked inside, only for a second. Their room felt strange, too dark, curtains closed. Even though it was afternoon, then I noticed something near the corner, small white cloths, tied together, strange symbols drawn on the floor, and beside the bed, a small calabash. Immediately cold entered my body. I stepped back, then suddenly, a voice behind me said, looking for something. I nearly died. Mama Bisi, standing behind me, smiling, but not smiling with her eyes. Days later it happened again. I woke around 2 a.m., same time, same strange feeling. Then I heard humming, very soft, very low. I stepped outside carefully. The entire compound slept, but the sound continued, coming from Mama Bisi's room. Their door was slightly open, and I looked. I wish I hadn't. Mama Bisi sat on the floor, rocking slowly, forward, backward, smiling, but her hands were empty. She was rocking empty air, like someone carrying a child. Then she whispered, not yet. My blood turned cold. Then suddenly, she stopped rocking, slowly turned her head, and looked directly toward the door, toward me. I ran. 3 days later, the old woman returned. Nobody saw where she came from. She just appeared, standing near the compound entrance, still, watching. Children who played outside suddenly moved away, even dogs avoided her. Mama Bisi rushed toward her, and both disappeared inside the room. 2 hours later the old woman came out. As she passed me, she stopped, turned, looked directly at me, then said, some things are not meant for curious eyes. Then she walked away. I could not move, because I never told anyone I looked into that room, never. That night I had a dream. I saw a child, small girl, standing far away, calling me. I couldn't see her face. Then slowly she said, tell her to give me back. I woke immediately, sweating, heart pounding. Then I heard it, from Mama Bisi's room, crying, baby crying, but Mama Bisi had not given birth yet. Silence filled the compound, because I knew I heard it, and deep down, I knew I wasn't the only one. The next day the sky looked strange. Dark clouds gathered early, heavy wind blew across the compound. children stopped playing, women hurried inside, then around evening, rain started, slow at first, then heavier. Because Mama Bisi was on the floor, and the baby was coming, but somewhere deep inside me, I knew this wasn't going to end normally. The baby cried, loud, strong, alive, outside. Everybody sighed in relief. Women smiled, people thanked God, some even started leaving. But I noticed something. Connor wasn't smiling, not even a little. He stood near the wall, frozen. Sweating, looking at that door, not like a happy father, like a man waiting for something terrible. Then slowly, the door opened. The old woman stepped outside first. No expression, no smile, nothing. Rainwater dripped from the edge of the roof. Nobody spoke. Then she looked directly at Connor and said, "Remember what I told you." Silence, complete silence. Connor's face changed immediately. The color left his body. "Mama, what do you mean?" he whispered. The woman ignored him. Then she turned and looked around at all of us standing there. For 1 second, I felt cold, very cold. Then she walked away into the rain. Just like that, nobody stopped her, nobody spoke. Then suddenly, from inside the room, the baby started crying again. But this time, something was wrong. Didn't
Because
sound
that
like
cry
a baby anymore. It sounded like something trying to sound like a baby. And Mama Bisi screamed, not a normal scream, the kind of scream that makes your blood freeze. Then Connor shouted, "Open the door." People ran forward. The room shook. Someone pushed the door. Another person screamed. And that was the moment I saw something inside that room, something that should not have been there. To be continued in part 2.